Thank you, folks. It's great to be here in front of a whole crowd of fellow Democrats. I take great pride being a Democrat myself, and I assume there's no reporters in the room, and I want to be a little candid with you today. Imagine it's primary day, Tuesday, September 18, 2012. You wake up and you think to yourself, wow, that most fundamental question, are we going to elect the best candidate to beat Scott Brown today? Now, there's a lot of good candidates out there, and some of them are here today. And they're all good people, I've met them. But we need to win this race. And as you wake up that morning, you ask yourself, what would that best candidate look like? Perhaps it's someone who can neutralize Scott Brown's barn jacket and pickup truck and everyman image with a 657-mile demonstration on foot of how committed he is to being with everyday people on their doorsteps, in their neighborhoods, and in their communities. Seeing and hearing firsthand their day-to-day challenges and understanding their obstacles to opportunity. Someone who can offer them hope that their voice will be heard in the halls of Congress. We need to win this race, you tell yourself as you wake up that morning. So you grab a cup of coffee. You think about how effective an ad would be, where you could compare the Democratic candidate's voting record against Scott Brown's horrible voting record in the State House and in the United States Senate on issues that are so important to all of us: the economy, education, the environment. You imagine another ad in which Scott Brown's empty record of legislative achievements is compared against someone who, even when he was just a freshman legislator, accomplished more than Brown did in his entire legislative career. You imagine what that first debate with Scott Brown would be like. You want a Democratic candidate who has wrestled with and can speak clearly on all those tough issues: health care, a fair tax system, transportation issues, and foreign policy, in order to embarrass Scott Brown on the stump and in that debate. Surely, we want a candidate who can trounce Scott Brown on the substance and the policy to a point where no amount of money will be able to save him. We need to win this race, you tell yourself. And as you grab a healthy bowl of cereal, because you've read recently how important good nutrition is to keeping down healthcare costs throughout our country, you think about the money issue. The best candidate, you think, is someone who depresses Brown's ability to raise money, rather than energizes the Tea Party and routs the right to pour another $10 million into his coffers. You think about the business community in Boston, with those deep pockets who've been watching closely the Democratic primary over the course of the past year, to see if they elect a candidate who knows the business community, knows the challenges of managing a P&L statement, someone who can bring government and business together, and through public-private partnerships create new jobs. You know there are a lot of influential dollars and voices out there in that business community, and we want them on our Democratic side. We need to win this race, tell yourself. You wonder how the Dems win back all those disaffected lunch-pail Democrats who defected to Scott Brown during the last election. All those voters in Brockton and Lowell and right here in Lynn who have traditionally voted for Democrats. Many are frustrated. They've spent time unemployed and feeling squeezed. You want a candidate who can relate to them, who knows what it's like to be unemployed, who speaks their language too, who understands their perspective, who has met them on the street and in their fire stations and in their workplaces, and shares their frustrations. And then you worry about Scott Brown's military record. We don't want another Democratic candidate who looks weak and inexperienced in comparison. We want someone who has national security and foreign policy experience in Washington and on the ground in foreign countries. A candidate who has experience that will allow him to speak with candor and courage and credibility about ending those wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. We want someone who can be an effective senator for the people of Massachusetts, someone who knows how the Senate works from the inside, who can build coalitions of support like Ted Kennedy did, and who can establish personal relationships with senators of all types and kinds, just like Ted Kennedy did, and return the U.S. Senate to a body of collegiality, cooperation and compromise, and get stuff done on behalf of people in need. Ultimately, you decide that you want a candidate who can win. Someone who has a track record of beating a popular incumbent Republican. Someone who knows Scott Brown, knows his weaknesses firsthand, and knows how to beat them. I believe, and I want all of you to believe, that I am the Democratic Party's best hope to beat Scott Brown. So let's win back this seat for the Democratic Party. Let's win it back for the people of Massachusetts so that we can take pride again in both of our United States senators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Next up, please.